So today we're happy to welcome professional theater writer, producer, and author Steve Wallis onto Big Blend Radio today. He's going to be discussing his brand new audiobook. It's called Hannah, the Soldier Diaries. Now, I'm going to tell you, this is not a typical audiobook. You know, when podcasting started and the event of audiobooks started, I kept thinking, can we go back to some really cool radio plays from the past? Like that was some epic entertainment when you think way back when, right? And I think he captured this in this it's amazing. As soon as you start listening to it, you are stuck in it, and you're in it. You're in this story of Hannah, and it's a love story, and it's, connects with war, and it's awesome. So I'm very excited to have Steve join us, and I encourage you to go to the website, hannahthesoldierdiaries.co.uk. All the links that we talk about are in the episode notes as always. So welcome, Steve. How are you?
Hey there. I'm very well. Thank you for having me, Lisa. Delighted to be on your show.
Well, happy to have you here. You are in our family ancestral, area of Yorkshire, England. And I love this, the fact that you can do a stage production, then put it into an audiobook, and we can connect with it anywhere from around the world, pretty much, depending on the country you're in, right? But isn't that quite wonderful?
Absolutely. I think it is. Yeah, it's great. This modern technology, I know sometimes it drives us all crazy, but when it works, it's fantastic. And it really, as you say, it connects us, which is wonderful.
Well, this story, Hannah, what inspired you to write it? And did you write it initially thinking it would go into an audiobook and then into a play, or what came first with this?
So the audiobook came first. So originally I had this idea that I wanted to write an album, like a long player of 12 songs that were all connected. So like song 1 would be like, say, the beginning of a relationship, and song 12 would be the end of the relationship, or the outcome of the relationship, I guess is the better word to say. And then I thought, it might be really cool to actually to record some dialogue to make the story more interesting. So I was really inspired by Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds in the way that he put that together. So he, for you guys who don't know this work, so Jeff Wayne tells this amazing story about some aliens who came from Mars. But the way he put the his product together is he combined songs and dialogue in one piece, and I thought that's really cool. I really like how he did that. So I was taken in by what he did, and I tried to use a similar kind of methodology to write Hannah. So Hannah starts off with an introduction about the story about going to war, and then we jump straight into some dialogue, and then we have a song, and then we have some more dialogue, and we have song, and it repeats all the way through to right to the end. So I think Jeff Wayne is probably my early inspiration for writing in this particular style.
Yeah, it's very interesting to me. And the War of the Worlds is like an epic. I mean, that's a classic. That is hands down a classic. 100%. And now you're making me want to revisit it. But it does feel like you're in a theater and you feel connected to Hannah immediately. What a character. And, the narration is fantastic. And just, you get right into that and you feel like you're right there. You feel like you are like watching a play, even though your eyes are closed, or maybe your eyes are open, but you cannot really work and listen to this. I'm just serious, because it's gossipy too. You got gossip going on, and the music is fantastic. So I think it keeps your ears moving. You know what I mean? It keeps the energy up, where sometimes a narrator can be kind of boring, depending on, you definitely have the right people with you on this.
Thank you. That's very nice of you to say that. And yes, I was truly blessed to find. So the young person who does the narration and all the singing for us is a lady called Zoe Wright. She's from Yorkshire, from Scarborough, and I was talking to a bunch of people, and I kind of said, I've got this idea to do this story and this audiobook. And I said, I really need a really talented young female to do this recording for us. and they said, you need to get you need to get down to the local theatre because she's in a show at the local theatre. This is a true story. So we went down and we watched Zoe in this show, and she was amazing. She's an all-rounder. She's a dancer. She's a singer. She's an actress.
Wow.
And after the show finished, me and my wife kind of hung around at the stage door, as you do. And we said, "Oh, hey Zoe, we thought you were fantastic, and we want to put this show together. And we, would you like to come along and do a tryout for us?" And she said, "Yeah, sure." And she must have thought I was maybe a bit crazy. She didn't know who I was or anything like this. But anyway, we met and we went to the studio, and she did a tryout. And from then, it was a no-brainer. She's fantastic. She's a fantastic person. She's a lovely, beautiful person, lovely person, and a massive talent too. So yeah, really lucky to find Zoe.
You really feel like you're in her world, and yet at the same time, I also love the writing where there's parts of it which is, well, I'm not going to tell you everything quite yet. You know what I mean? There's parts of that where she's like, I'm telling you, like gossip, but you're not quite best friends yet. So you have to work a little bit until you hear everything. That's brilliant.
Oh, thank you. That's really nice of you to say so.
I thought that the way you've written it, and you're writing a female perspective too. So have you done that before? Written female characters as the main character?
Yeah, I have. And I actually find it easier to write for female characters. And I think that's for several reasons. I think my grandmother was a big influence on me as a child, and the origins of Hannah got my brain thinking when my grandmother used to tell me about the stories about what it was like for her to be home waiting for my granddad to come home from the Second World War. And she used to tell me what it was like, to be there waiting home with my mum. She never heard from him for, sometimes it was weeks and months, and sometimes she'd get a letter. So I think I was really intrigued by, I guess, what those relationships were like, during wartime. So I think that was an early inspiration, was certainly my grandmother and her story. And then I think another big inspiration for writing the female character is my wife. Although Hannah is, I would have to say, you would class it as fictitious, but there's a lot of truth in it. There's a lot of truths in Hannah, in terms of relationships, and that a lot of that is certainly the class. There's an element of class divide in Hannah, and that's truth. That's between me and my wife. So although you would badge it as fictitious, largely there is a lot of truths in the story.
And we should just give a little overview about how Hannah meets Jack, and how they connect. And then he has to, not only is he in the military, but he's going to war. And that is when you talk about, your grandma, it's one thing. Oh, I'm dating a soldier, but then suddenly your time speeds up because they're not going to stick around, and have a regular job in town. They're getting shipped off, and next, they really are going to war. And then you worry because if you don't hear from them all the time, there's really nothing you can do about it,
Absolutely. So, absolutely. And you're absolutely right. I mean, that's why that's that kind of key in Hannah. So without spoiling the story too much, that's what you've alluded to there is exactly it. So Hannah's she's just come out of a rough relationship, and she's kind of like happy doing what she does. She's just like, she's got some friends who she hangs out with. She's happy with her job. She's doing some university studies. So she's kind of happy with her life as she is. Then all of a sudden, this handsome young guy kind of like walks past her work, and she's going like, no, I'm not, I don't want to be interested. I really don't want to be interested, but he's making it really hard for me not to be interested. So she has to make a conscious decision about, do I want to get into another relationship? So there's a lot of kind of thought in should or shouldn't I, even though this guy's she's really attracted to him. So I'm conscious I don't want to spoil it too much. But
I know, because there's other things that happen.
Yes. Yeah. But
Don't
it's all about
don't
the
spoil.
choices we make. Yeah.
No spoilers allowed, but
No.
I also want to say the music is fantastic in this too, because I think there's just something about when you're doing something audio like this to go to the extra levels of it sounding really good, like a proper theater production. I think the music came off, everything just sounds really good and is quality. And so that is, you really appreciate that. And I want people to know, again, it's out now everywhere, like Spotify, all those different outlets. But can you give us some insight to the music? Because did you write the songs? Like, tell us about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So there again, I do class myself as quite blessed, really. And sometimes, there's a saying maybe out there that you guys know, like when stars align. And I think there was certainly an alignment of stars when we met Zoe. And there was another moment when I met Nick, a guy called Nick, who's from Scarborough, where we live. And so I was looking for someone who had a recording studio, and I found this guy online. And I rang him up and I said, I want to do this. I want to do this show. And he said, sure. He said, come down and we'll have a talk. And I didn't give. I'm quite a guarded person by nature, so I didn't sort of give too much away. So I said, I tell you what, let's me and you just have a go at writing a song together, just a random song. So we spent a day in the studio and we got on really well, and that was key for me about the relationship. I said, if I'm going to spend a lot of time with this guy, I need to know whether I'm going to get on with him or not. So we spent a day in the studio. We wrote this song, and it turned out fine. I really liked it, but more importantly, I liked Nick as a person and the way that he worked. So I thought this is good. So I said to him, look, let's carry on. Let's develop the show. Let's make this show. So he said, sure, we'll do that. And so in terms of how we created the song, so generally speaking, I have an idea of how the song should go, but I can't play any. And it's a shame. I'm maybe too old for this now, but I wish I could have done that. But I don't play anything, so I kind of have an idea about how the song needs to go. So it could be so I say, it needs to be a ballad, or it needs to be a bit of a rock or a pop song, and I kind of go right. So it kind of goes like this, la 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 la, so magically he kind of like he's able to transcribe my kind of la la las and my very very basic melodies into these fabulous songs that he's created. The music. So I do all the lyrics and I do these very very sketchy high level melodies. And me and him just seem to have this kind of like relationship where he kind of gets me and he kind of knows what I want, even though I can't play anything, but I can just manage to do this la 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 kind of thing to him. And he goes, what, something like this? And he'll play it and I go, yeah, or maybe almost. And he'll say, maybe we change it a little bit. And I go, yeah, that's it. Let's go in that direction. And we
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's how he came out. That's the true story. That's how it happened. Yeah.
So have you always been writing productions like this?
Yeah. So for many years, I guess maybe by some people's standards, I was quite late in terms of kind of writing musical theatre. I mean, I didn't maybe start till I was maybe 35 or so. But yeah, as soon as I started, I didn't want to stop. I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved, particularly the creative process, as in the writing and the music and all that kind of stuff. And I love producing. I love getting a show to the opening night, and then come 7:30 when the show opens, your work is done. You can't. You're in the lap of the gods, as they say. As far as you're concerned, the curtain goes back, the audience is in, the cast are ready, the show starts, and you have to just go for it, guys, and you cross your fingers that it's all going to be good. But I adore it. I adore the theatre process. Love it.
Isn't it wild? Because, and I come from a music background and performing, and it's hell, but we're addicted to the hell. I don't understand it, really, because it's the biggest challenge and it's an adrenaline rush, but we get like this high from like anything could go wrong that just when you think you've gone through anything that could go wrong, something will happen just to challenge you. And I don't know, we keep going back, don't we? It's wild.
It's very true. That is, I'm 100%. That's exactly how I feel too. Yeah, it drives you absolutely crazy. Often, and you think, why are we doing this? Because it's insane. But I think that the thing is, there's more positive than negative in terms of the process, and I think that's what keeps us kind of like captivated. And I think it's that when you actually see, on the stage, what everybody has put all the time and the effort into create, and you kind of you sit in the audience and you watch it with other audience members, and you watch their reactions, and if you've got a good one and they love it, it's lovely. It's a wonderful validation of all the hard work everybody's put in. You get some really nice applause and some really nice comments, and I think that's lovely. That's lovely to see and lovely to hear.
Yeah, well, you definitely put together something quality to listen to, and the story, you're just hooked in. And I think men will enjoy this too, not just women. Even though it's from a woman's perspective, it has male perspectives in there too. It kind of reminds me of like a fresh approach to Greece in a way. In regards to the love story is going to end, but then it could continue on, because they did a summer, right? But this is like someone going off to war. So it's a little different. It's not high school either, but it's going through that study of relationships that we never get over studying. And we all have some form of understanding and relationship within like a relationship story, right? So I think it's very, approachable for anyone to listen to and enjoy it. And I don't know, brings back some feeling, and also reminds people of what happens to not just those who serve, who are out in the trenches, but what happens to the families. And it's something we talk about on the shows a lot is, we forget about what the families themselves go through, the wives, the husbands who are at home with the kids and trying to still create this life when your partner is rarely there, or may not come home. We don't know on this story yet until you listen to it, everyone. So I'm not going there. So, you know what I mean? I think that it's really approachable for men and women, but also for those who live this kind of life, for them to relate to it as well, but in a modern way. It is like Greece in a modern way, but it's a military Greece. Can we say it that way?
Sure.
Yeah, it's on that caliber.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, and I guess the thing is the feelings that you get from both sides. Like you say, you get the family who are at home, who often sometimes go through, feelings of hopelessness. Especially when communications are broken down and they don't understand why. And then I think from Jack's perspective, who is the male character in this particular show, so he in one of his he sings in 2 or 3 of the songs, and certainly in one of the songs, a song called "Beginning at the End." I think there's some really nice thought process and some really nice lyrics in there, and it's without giving too much away. I think even though he's a dedicated army guy, and he realizes what he's getting himself into when he signs up. I think the moment that he sees this woman who he falls in love with almost immediately, I think if he were given a choice, he'd probably come home to her. I think his feelings are kind of that strong, and I think that's really summed up really nicely in that particular song called "In the Beginning at the End." So I think you're right. I think they're torn at both sides. So that they're torn being away. So in this instance, Jack, he's away and fighting. He's torn, but then you've got Hannah, who's at home waiting, and crossing the fingers that he's going to come home. So, yeah, there are, even though you described it spot on in terms of primarily it's from Hannah's perspective, we do actually at times kind of like give you a feeling of what Jack's going through as well, while he's away.
Which is important, to have those sides. And then the music side, you were talking about writing them, but what about the singers and the musicianship of this? Who was doing the vocals?
So Zoe primarily, she's the lead female vocalist on all the songs.
Wow,
She also does the narration as well.
she's amazing.
And then she's a fantastic actress. And then there's so we for the guys who won't listen to it just yet. So there's some rapping on a couple of the songs as well. And the guy who wrote the songs with Nick, that's his son.
Oh wow!
So his son has actually done the rapping on 2 or 3 of the songs as well. And we put that in there because Jack is for all intents and purposes an affluent person from an affluent family, and we just thought, well, why shouldn't he rap? You know, why should he not? And we thought that the songs lent themselves to rap, so we thought, you know, I think this works. I think it works. So the guy's called Tyler, who's Nick's son, and I knew that Nick kind of said to me that he is quite a talent, and I said, okay, let's get him in. So he came and he tried out for a couple of the songs, and I thought, this guy he's a real talent himself. So we said, yeah, okay, let's get him to rap on a couple of these songs, and I was delighted how they turned out because it's mixed with Zoe, so Zoe kind of sings part of the song. So I guess to the listeners, an example I could give, and I just want to put it out there. I'm not trying to make out for 1 minute I'm at kind of this guy's level. Of course I'm not, but just to give an example of how the song plays out. So the way that Eminem often writes his songs, he'll like Stan as an example. You get like Dido singing the really lovely verse bits. You get Eminem singing the chorus bit, or vice versa. So these couple of songs that we've got in the show, they're a little bit like that in the way they're constructed. So you get
and also again, using the word approachable is good for any age or people who may not listen to rap. It fits so well that you don't go, oh my gosh, I'm listening to rap and I don't listen to rap. It goes in and it keeps it fresh and young of what is now and current, you know. So I think that's really important too, you know. And we always think, you know, these kinds of, I was going to say plays, you know, stories are often always World War II. We got a little on Vietnam, you know, very few on some other battles like the Korean War, World War I and II got a lot of Vietnam, but you know, current day stories, modern history. It's good to cover that because we can't leave out those families and the people that were part of it, you know? So I think that's a beautiful thing is, you know, looking at current times, you know, that's awesome. Are you going to do more?
Yes.
Yay.
So the second audiobook, so the second Hannah audiobook is going to be out Christmas, December 2024, so in about 4 or 5 months. So so volume 2 is going to be out in Christmas. So I'm really excited about that too. So there's going to be more, and then we'll see how that goes. But I think once the second one's done, that kind of oh gosh, I don't want to say too much. All I'll say is that the second volume is going to be out at Christmas for now. Otherwise, I'm going to give it away.
Okay, so that we want the second book because it's not done.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, the story's not done. And so, what about it being on stage for our listeners in England? Anything like that for them to know about?
Yeah. So Hannah. So just very, very, very short story. So we did the So we were writing the audiobook. And we were recording the audiobook, and I turned to Nick, who's the guy who did the music, and I kind of said, this needs to be on stage. And he said, really? And I said, yeah, I can see this on the stage, 100%. And genuinely, it was never the original intent. The original idea was that we were going to do the audiobook, and we were very happy with that. But I said, no, this needs to be on the stage. So we finished the audiobook, and then I rewrote the script for the stage version. And I went down to see the local theatre guys, and I kind of said, look, I've got this story it's set in Scarborough where we live. And I said, you know, can we put it on the stage here? And they said, after, this gets a bit of negotiations, as all these things often play out, they said, yes, sure. So we literally put it on in April of 2024 at the Scarborough Spa Theatre here in Scarborough.
Oh, cool.
And Zoe, who's done the audiobook, she was there. So she was the leading lady on the stage. And
Perfect.
we had an absolute blast. And I was so proud of everybody who took part because I'll be completely honest with you. It was everybody in the town was really supportive. But to be honest with you, they didn't really know what it was. And why would
Mm-hmm.
they? You can kind of say, oh, yeah, we're doing this Hannah the Soldier Diaries play. And they go, oh, yeah, that sounds amazing. But to be fair, they had no real idea what it was. Why would they? Because it's all new. It's brand new. So we put it on, and the honest truth is, I was kind of like thinking, I was quite confident that we'd put on a good show. I was quite confident, but I wasn't quite confident that everybody was going to show up and watch it because it was so brand new. But with the ticket sales, they increased day by day by day. And people came up to me and they said to me, "Do you know what? We never thought it was going to be like this. We thought it was amazing. We absolutely loved it." And people still come up to me in the street and go, "Are you that guy who put Hannah on?" And they said, "Oh my God, some people went back 2-3 times. Genuinely, they did. They absolutely
That's
loved it.
awesome.
Yeah, they absolutely loved it. And I'm not a. The only people I went to ask for the opinion was the press. I went to the press. And I kind of said, "What do you think?" And they said, "Well, have you read the newspaper?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And I said, "Well, that's what we think." I said, "What, really?" I said, "You're not trying to be nice." And they said, "No, we don't do nice in this country. This is the truth." And the reviews
You're right.
were wonderful.
Listen, the English humor is straight up, even if it's, it's humor. It is. It's
it is. And
wow.
I was so humbled by it, because I'm not I don't really court, I know, you have to tell people about what you're doing. Of course you do. But I don't go up to people in the streets and go, "Oh, hey, I'm the guy who wrote Hannah. What did you think?" I never do that. But if somebody wants to come and ask me the question and want to talk to me, I'll give them the time of day and I'm very happy to talk about it. And they said, "We absolutely loved it." But I don't go, "Oh, yeah, thanks for it." I say, "Why did you love it?" I say, what's the reasoning? Why are you telling me you loved it? And they tell me, and it's all for different reasons. But one of the main things that people always say, and it's a consistent message, is because they said to me, "You made us laugh and you made us cry and you made us want us to come back." And I said, "Well, there you go." What more can I ask for?
You can't. Yeah,
so
I know.
I
Well,
was so humbled by that.
it's a fantastic story, and the audiobook is an amazing production. It feels, like I said at the beginning, it's like you're in it, and it's so real and it's so well done. From this, I know the audiobook is out, but can it be licensed out for theatrical productions across the country, around England, around the world?
Yeah.
Is it able to do that?
Absolutely. So we're looking to, in terms of the stage play, the stage musical, so it's going to come back to Scarborough next June for another run, and then we're talking to the theatre at the moment. So there's a chance we might be able to do it through the summer, maybe in Scarborough next year, and then we're certainly looking at trying to take it on tour, in the UK, and maybe in a year or two, maybe beyond. So which would be really nice. So we certainly just feel this is kind of still, the beginning, really, and we've got lots of big plans for her. So and the dream is the movie, of course. We'd love to turn it into a movie because it kind of works the way it's kind of written.
I think so, and I think we need more love right now. So this is a good thing.
I think you're right. We do. We sure do. We sure do.
And we love the twists and turns of it because that's the if love had no obstacles, you need the obstacles. Period. It just is.
You do need the obstacles. You do. You need it.
No one just gives you a golden ticket of pure love and it's all perfect.
I wish.
It just doesn't work. But that's why we love stories like this, because we can all relate in some form or fashion to these kinds of stories in life, right? And I just love it. I love Hannah as a character. She cracks me up. She is funny. She is. She's just, there's just certain parts of it I was like, Oh, she's funny. I would want to sit down with her and have a cocktail. Absolutely. I want to go hang out with her and I want to go to her town. You know what I mean? You kind of feel like you want that, So, yeah, I love the fact that it's an audiobook right now for folks that can't see it in theaters yet, or, it's a great medium to get people to really, uh, get onto it. It could be a series, quite frankly, in some ways, if you wanted to, because her personality it's such a good character, you know. Um, I could see it become a series. I mean, it would obviously change the initial story, right? But I think her character is so well done that it could be a series that people could follow. I know you want a movie, but it could be a series. I'm just saying, would you be
Yeah,
against that? I think,
no,
yeah,
not at all. And I was just kind of thinking that, you talked about, Zoe and stuff. I think if there's an opportunity, so Zoe lives local to me. So if there's ever an opportunity that you'd like to, you'd like to get her on the show, she'd be very happy to do that. I should say
absolutely.
she's a lovely, she's a lovely person, in real life as well, even though she's a great actress, but she's a lovely person. And she kind of said to me, she said, which is lovely as well. She kind of said that this was kind of meant for me, and she's right. She is. I've always said to her, I can't imagine ever anybody else ever being Hannah. You just seem such a natural fit, you guys. You two together. So I was truly blessed when somebody said, you need to go to the theatre and you need to go and see this young person on the stage, and I'm very grateful to that person.
She's perfect. I mean, it just is. It is. You couldn't, yeah, it shouldn't be changed. Don't mess with a good thing. Don't mess with a good thing. But she's welcome on the show anytime. And thank you so much, Steve. I mean, it's a delight and it's a wonderful story. And I want everyone to go get it. And, very easy these days, everyone's driving. Turn off the news for once because it really is kind of crazy out there. So maybe listen to something like this instead and go to Hannah, the soldierdiaries.co.uk. Again, the link is in the episode notes. You can get it wherever you get audiobooks, and it's out now, and go support it and love it so much. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for having me on. Absolutely awesome. Thank you.
I don't care if love is blind. No. I got damn butterflies deep inside. She's got damn butterflies deep inside. Can't get you out of my head. I think he's blowing my mind. Hey.